same.
So this is my spoiler review of the Echo series, and once again, this is a spoiler review, so please, if you're checking this out, go ahead, watch the Echo series and come back. But if you've already seen the Echo series, then welcome aboard, and I'm going to give you my thoughts.
So, who's the monster?
This is a mixed bag for me. Let's talk about the things that I did like. I really love Alaqua Cox as Echo. I love her physicality in the role. She is a physical performer. She's really good. And the action scenes are just so dynamic, so stunning. I even forget at times that she's deaf and an amputee, and her physicality in the role is really awesome. I believe that she can kick somebody's ass for real. So that's really good. I really enjoy that. I love the choreography of the fight scenes, and watching these fight scenes brings me closer to that grit and physicality that I really loved a lot in the Daredevil series. So I do hope to see more of that. And just overall, I think Alaqua Cox is a star in the making, and I do hope to see more of her in the MCU. Going to Daredevil, they're clearly teasing Daredevil for sure in this series, and I really did enjoy Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil, and when he shows up, I just love watching Daredevil. This to me is as close to a comic book accurate as you can get. The way he moved, the way he used the Billy Club, the choreography, even the costume, it really did remind me of the Daredevil that I grew to love in the comics. So I really like that, and I really just can't wait to see Daredevil in his upcoming series, Daredevil Born Again. But did we really need Daredevil in this series? Maybe not, but it still was cool to see. I really did like the attention to detail for the deaf community. So how every scene was either subtitled or it showed somebody signing, I really did like that. And I like how there was a lot of moments where they put you in her shoes, and there was the switching of the audio from how we hear to how she hears. They did that quite often in this series, and I really did enjoy that. I'm going to get some water here. All right, so let's go to the Kingpin. Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk, or the Kingpin. What there's not to love? I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio was great. He's got this character down. I mean, he is the Kingpin. He is Wilson Fisk. I don't think anybody could ever play that character better than him, and I love his interpretation of this character. And the way the series ended, he's on his way to becoming mayor. I mean, that's clearly what's happening. I mean, he's on his way to becoming mayor, and they've set that up in the comics. That's a run in the comics where he's major, so you already know he's going to be around in the MCU for a while, and I'm happy for that. I really am. I also liked how they really brought us into the indigenous traditions, the heritage and the Choctaw Nation, and the Native American heritage, and letting us know who is Maya Lopez and the long line of ancestors that she comes from. I really did enjoy that, and I thought that was a very important part of this series as well, because not only do you need to know who Echo is, you need to know who Maya Lopez is. So those were all the things in this particular series that I really did like. So let's get to the things that I didn't like. Where do I start? Like I said, this is a mixed bag for me, and my issues with the show are about the storytelling, the pacing, and the editing of the show. It just felt choppy, and it just felt at times there was just so much more that needed to be told. And at the end of this series, I'm not going to lie, I did feel that it was a little incomplete to me, especially in the beginning. when it came to the Native American heritage, like the Choctaw Nation and the ancestral powers and, you know, the mysticism of it all. In particular, when they do the flashback scenes to all the different women from the past, I really felt that they needed more explaining on that. So I could understand what was going on there. I mean, they really needed to take more time in explaining the passing of the ancestral powers, and it just really needed to be more fleshed out, because I really didn't understand what was going on until much later, until like the middle of the series, near the end of episode 3. So that really was something that I wish they had fleshed out more, because it's great to have that understanding of this heritage, but we needed more of that fleshed out, and I would have really loved that. I didn't like the fact that she wanted to become Queenpin, and her sticking it to Wilson Fisk. I mean, if she wants to become the Queenpin and stick it to Wilson Fisk, I didn't really think that was necessary in this series. That plot didn't need to be in this series. I also didn't understand her wanting to take Fisk down, but going to her hometown. That was just so bizarre to me. Like, I just didn't understand that. If you want to do that, she could have did that in New York. She could have literally done that in New York. And I just didn't get that she wanted to come to her hometown. Now, I do get that she wanted to come to her hometown to recover from her wounds. But after Wilson Fisk recovers, the story could have continued with Fisk on his revenge quest to find Maya after what she did to him. But it just seems like what they were doing was having her go back home, because the story was about her and her grandmother and her ancestors. And this is what I'm saying about the storytelling and the pacing and the editing. 5 episodes is just not enough to cram all this stuff in. And I made some notes here. This series, it felt like 2 shows, and that's really the thing. When I'm watching this series, it felt like there were 2 different shows that were edited together. On one hand, you have Echo, who is a straight badass, you know, that has these ties with Kingpin, and then on the other hand, you have this story about, you know, the Native American heritage and the Choctaw Nation and her family and the ancestral powers. And the ancestral powers is cool. I think it's great. And having that in there is really good, but we needed more of that. If they were going to add the ancestral powers, they needed and should have had more episodes. If not, just focus on Echo being a badass, a street level hero. Just keep it simple with her being a badass, her storyline with Kingpin, and her possibly running into Daredevil from time to time. They just needed to keep it simple, and honestly, I think that would have made the show a lot better. So, like I said, it really does sound like I'm butchering this show. But like I said, overall, the Echo series was a mixed bag for me. You know, I do feel that the Echo series is moving the needle in the right direction with the future of Marvel, even though it did move it just a little bit. I don't know. It's just the storytelling, the pacing, and the editing just undercuts so much that is really good with this show. Honestly, that's where my thoughts are. It's just a mixed bag for me. So what are your thoughts on the Echo series, and where do you see her going forward? I am very curious. What were your favorite episodes? I mean, please share your thoughts down below. Subscribe today, and you can check out some more videos right now.
That you can't contain it. So, who's the monster?